So tonight the moon is just nearly full and it's lighting up the sand through the water. It looks fantastic. It's a breezy night tonight. It's going up to 20 knots, and then in the morning it's supposed to calm down a little, and we should get a good start on our passage through the Bahamas and out toward Panama. I'm Paul Sheryl. My wife Sheryl and I are currently home editing and isolating in Canada. This episode was filmed in February before COVID-19.
If you're thinking of taking your boat from the Atlantic into the Pacific Ocean through the Panama Canal at some point, we've created this video with you in mind. It's the first in a series.
We're going to take you on a 7-day offshore passage to Panama, sailing 1,000 miles non-stop from the Bahamas past Cuba and Haiti before arriving in Panama.
You'll see how we manage night watches, cook in rolly seas, deal with squalls, avoid ships at sea, and make a night landfall at one of the busiest harbors in the world.
I'm also going to show you the process we use to plan out passages so that you can do it too and practice the methods at home.
And now, let's go sailing. Our adventure begins with provisioning in Georgetown, Bahamas. We've been cruising the shallow seas of the Bahamas since mid-November aboard our variable draft southerly 480 sailboat, Distant Shores 3. It's the fourth boat Paul and I have owned over 30 years of cruising and living aboard.
We've been enjoying the quiet, idyllic anchorages here in the Bahamas and have had some great sails across the clear blue seas of the Great Bahama Bank. But it's early February and time to head further south to begin new adventures, a passage to Panama, the gateway to the Pacific.
Joining us as crew for this voyage are Peter and Lorena from Italy, and Keith, a British yachtsman now living in Scotland.
So hey, it's your birthday, that's exciting. Everyone's... It's gonna go.
Happy birthday! All are experienced sailors and boat owners who have done many coastal passages and night sails. This will be their first week-long offshore passage.
Are you the troublemaker that put all this together?
The box full of boxes.
Besides being good sailors, all three are good in the galley. So Lorena, what's happening in the galley tonight?
We are preparing a spaghetti carbonara.
Oh.
Or linguine.
Oh, all right. Yum. Look at that. I think we'll be eating well on this voyage.
I thought I'd take the opportunity here to describe how I planned this passage. First of all, we're going to be leaving from Georgetown here and sailing down. It's approximately 200 miles to the Windward Passage between Haiti and Cuba. So that is often straight into the wind, and I wanted to make sure we weren't going to be doing that. So Thursday, we were going to be looking forward to some basically exact headwinds, 15 to 20, and by Thursday night, it would be going to 20 or so Thursday night, and then first thing Friday, overnight it would get lighter, and you can see we're going to have just light winds, so we're not going to have a very strong winds as we head what I thought would be the toughest part, upwind. So it could be if we were into 20 knots of wind, that would be difficult upwind. So then on Friday, we've got all the way through Friday with some sort of beam winds. We should get some nice sailing there. And then overnight, Saturday morning, we should already be approaching this passage. And then we should have a beam wind before the wind comes stronger and a bit close hauled if we were a bit later. So we're going to try to make that window, that gate, to get us through the Windward Passage and then have it behind us. Continuing on, we have some perhaps light winds in the lee of Haiti, so that with the prevailing winds, this will be quieter behind Haiti. And then we have some very strong winds coming up in the 25s and whatnot as we come across down to Panama. So that's going to be a few more days, but it's always sort of after the beam. There's nothing on the nose here. So the only other thing I wanted to check on this is to see about the current. We have that in predict wind as well. So this would be Saturday, we're getting into this area. And so we should have some head currents in this area. That is showing 0.7 of a knot against us. And this here is 1.5 knots. So that's getting kind of interesting. There's a big area here where it might be a little difficult to avoid a head current. Otherwise, there we are. We've got a route across. We have a day and a half to get up to the Windward Passage, and then say 4 days down across to Panama. And we'll be crossing with the wind on the quarter, which should be reasonable. We're just going to have to watch out for the current, which may be bringing up the sea a little bit. And if we get some head currents, if they're a knot against a 25 knot wind, that could bring some bigger seas. There you go. Let's have a good passage.
The day before an offshore passage, we like to do a short sail to a quiet anchorage to catch our breath, do any final sorting, and get a good night's sleep. This helps everyone get their sea legs, or in other words, adjust to the boat's motion, before we head offshore. Lorena and Peter will sleep in the aft cabin. Paul and I are in the forward cabin, and Keith will sleep in one of the bunks in the third cabin, which are good sea berths.
Look at this pretty night. The moon is just lighting up the sand. It's only 5 or 6 feet deep here, and the moon is lighting up the sand, white sand under the water. The wind is supposed to go down a little bit overnight. We have a nice day to start off. So I've got midnight to 3.
You're midnight to 3, and Keith is kindly taking my watch.
3 to 6.
We start around-the-clock watches as soon as we leave, dividing up 24 hours, so each watch is 3 hours with teams overlapping. Since I'm recovering from a sprained ankle, everyone pitches in, and Keith kindly takes on my night watches.
Oh, thank you, Lorena. You're welcome.
What kind of sandwiches are they?
Tuna salad sandwich.
The winds come up as per Paul's forecast, so the sailing's good. And on night 2, we approach the Windward Passage and our first waypoint off the eastern tip of Cuba.
The wind's up a little bit. We've got about, what do we have, 15 knots of true wind maybe? 12 to 15 on the beam, and we're going through the Windward Passage. You can just see the lights of Cuba over there. First time we've seen Cuba, that's really exciting. There's a big shipping lane here, but there's not very busy, so we've got a couple of ships coming. Nothing in sight right now. Looks like almost a knot of current. We're doing 8.5 knots over the ground with our 6.7 or 7 knots of true speed through the water. So we've got a current flowing through here, and we've got a ship coming into the separation scheme, and then another ship entering the separation scheme from the other side. So the ships will keep their lanes, and we're just going to sneak inside here and cutting close to the coast of Cuba. We'll keep an eye out for little boats if there's any smaller boats, fishing boats around here. We're just about 3 or 4 miles off the coast. We got 10 to 15 knots on the beam. It's beautiful sailing tonight. Full moon, it's gorgeous. So that's the coast of Cuba over there?
Yeah.
You see it?
Once through the Windward Passage, the winds and seas build, but come from behind, so we pull out the head sails for some fast downwind sailing. Downwind Ocean sailing can be a bit rolly, however, but Keith is undeterred from galley duty. What are you making us tonight?
We're having, courtesy of Nigel Slater, chorizo and chickpea stew.
Yummy. Note the pot clamps holding the stew on the stovetop of our gimbling oven, which keeps things level in a rolling sea.
It's the perfect boat food. One pot cooking.
High-sided bowls make food easier to manage at sea.
Except we have no chorizo.
Well, that is beyond the call of duty, I would say, for at sea on a rolling night. But look at that, isn't that beautiful? Ever the sailing chef, Keith got creative with what we had on board and added smoked paprika to some Danish sausage, a delicious solution to the missing chorizo.
Gusts of 35, 38. And some good rain here. The decks are...
When squalls hit, we reef down the sails, or in other words, we roll them up smaller. This way they are resistant to the strong winds and the boat won't lean over too much, yet they still create forward motion so we keep sailing toward our destination.
Real what? Show. It's a real show. Wow, what are these?
Avocado, bacon and tomato.
Avocado, bacon, and tomato toast. It's amazing. Well, we've had a very hard few days. This has been some of the roughest waters we've ever sailed in, I think. These waves, especially when we had the current against us, the waves got really short and steep and were breaking all the time, so it was quite challenging. And Sheryl was just reading in the Round the World Cruising Guide, Jimmy Cornell's guide, that many people who circumnavigate think this part of the Caribbean is the roughest waters they've had in their entire circumnavigation. We have a great crew, everyone's been amazing, and down in the galley, even whipping up all kinds of amazing food. And we've got about 300, maybe 250 miles to go to get to Panama.
Finally relaxed?
We relax, and then a big, huge one comes. So we've been sailing with our jib and our reefed main. The main is triple reefed, and the jib, we've been not quite, I guess, one reef in it, in the jib. That's such a bulletproof little sail, it can handle these 35 knot gusts. And the seas are a bit more organized than they were before. They're still pretty big, so they're probably 4.5 meter high seas, so 12, 14 feet, I guess. But with the gusts up to 30, and I think the winds around Colombia are maybe a little stronger even, so we're getting the seas downwind of that. And hopefully we get in tomorrow night, and we're going into Shelter Bay, but there's a traffic separation scheme as well, so whether we should have to avoid all that. And we'll be coming in the dark, probably. We'll see if we can allow to anchor the harbor to come in the dark. Cheryl's making dinner tonight.
Oh, we're going to do chicken fried rice tonight. A good one-pot meal, so lots of flavors.
I thought you were going to say you had a little bit of motion in the galley tonight.
Well,
so.
yeah, we do. Yeah, things
Everything
are
rolls all over the place, so careful with the sharp knives.
Yes, and I'm being very careful of my ankle, which is on the mend, but has made this passage a challenge for sure. Great thing we have good crew.
Welcome to our last night watch on this crossing. This will be a 7-day passage, or nearly 7 days, nearly 1,000 miles. We've had winds of 22 to 30 knots with higher gusts up to 35 for the last 4 days as we've crossed the Caribbean heading southward. It's been a real washing machine out here. The waves out here are 4.5 meters. It really throws the boat around because they're shorter and steeper than you'd expect in this kind of wind. This really is one of the roughest bits of water we've had the pleasure of crossing. So if you are coming through here, plan on a bumpy ride. And the crew has been great, especially poor Sheryl, who has her sprained ankle. And I'm really looking forward to getting the boat into harbor so we can get her just to relax, not have to move around. We've got 150 miles to go to Panama. Really looking forward to getting in. Due for quarantine, so we'll get that up on the starboard flag halyard. We're ready to go to Panama.
The yellow Q flag is raised when arriving at a new country to show you need to clear in.
Okay, so we just put the Q flag up. The sun's just setting. We're going to be in a few hours. Get into the Panama harbor. I think we've got a spot in the Marina already, so after 6 rough days, it's going to be great. It'll be great to get in and get ashore.
The lights of Panama lie ahead, and we're given permission from port control to proceed with caution on the edge of the shipping lanes and to enter the harbor and Shelter Bay Marina.
So we're keeping an eye on this ship that just came through the separation zone with us. He just came through and now he's maneuvering around. So everyone else here on the plotter is parked for the night, anchored up, but he's maneuvering around and I don't know what he's doing, so we'll keep an eye on him. We just have about an hour to go and then we get into the channel and into the harbor. Yeehaw! 3, 2. Gosh, we made it!
Yes!
Welcome, Captain, welcome.
Thank you very much.
So we're
Thanks
here
for that.
for the night.
Yes, that was a style move.
This is Eddie. I believe you're the dockmaster.
That is correct. I am the dockmaster.
And we've had nothing but great correspondence and service from Shelter Bay Marina since the beginning. So here we are. It's 11:30 at night, and we're being greeted.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Hello, welcome.
So it's been amazing. We have been at sea for almost 7 days, and it was a really rolly passage. I can't remember such big, steep waves for so many days. But here we are. We've come in the dark. Everything was well lit. The crew was amazing. Everyone just was so great throughout the whole trip. And jumped to as we came in, and we're all tied up now. We're gonna have a little party to celebrate our arrival. Then it's shower and bedtime for this crew.
It was a really tough crossing, I think one of our toughest in a long time, with waves up to, what were they, 5 meters, I think. We saw some today.
The little ones.
The little guys. Then there was the bigger ones.
Yeah, and then the ones in the dark.
Well, you guys, that was a special passage just for you. I did say it was going to be breezy, didn't I?
Yeah.
There you go. That's my version of breezy. That's British
I
understatement.
thought you said it was going to be a breeze. I didn't.
Oh, really? I could have sworn I said breezy.
Good one.
Yeah. Cheers, cheers indeed. Thanks for coming along on the journey. So if you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content as we sail on into the Pacific. Next time we explore Panama and head on into the Panama Canal. But now stay tuned for a special feature.
We're often asked why we fly the British ensign on our boat when Paul and I are Canadian. Well, a change at Pantanius Yacht Insurance UK meant that they can no longer cover Canadian registered vessels. We've trusted them for years and wanted to stay with them. So when we registered Distant Shores 3, our agent, Oceanskies, recommended a Jersey registration. This was acceptable for our insurance and offered other benefits. Clarice explains.
Hi, Clarice.
Hi Paul and Sheryl, it's Clarice from Oceanskies in Guernsey here, and today I'm going to be explaining the reasoning behind Distant Shores having a Jersey flag and not a Canadian flag. Just for a bit of background, Oceanskies specialise in yacht and aircraft registration and documentation, as well as offshore crew employment and payroll. Registering your yacht in your country of domicile is not always the best idea. There's often a tax liability and an obligation for you to report to your national tax agency. So, since Distant Shores 3 will be cruising worldwide, you needed something called a flag of convenience. This is a flag with a strong reputation which is well known worldwide. Customs and port state officials often like to check the tax status and inspect the documents on a yacht when it pulls into port. The Jersey flag, however, is associated with the United Kingdom through its crown dependencies, which means that it often falls onto the approved list of cruising permits. This means that you can benefit from temporary admission, so you can enter the EU for up to 18 months and not pay VAT, as long as you follow the strict guidelines. If anybody wants to find out more about what we've discussed today, then go on over to our website at oceanskies.com, and you can now use our free flag selector tool to help you find the flag that is best for you. If anybody has any more questions, go ahead and call us or email us. We're always here to help.
Thanks, Grace.